What's up guys, Azura here. We're gonna be talking about the last class that I own you, the build, the Bard Healer Minstrel. Gonna be having a build ready for the next module. And yeah, let's get started. The race, as you can see down there, I'm using Wood Elf for the 5% critical chance. This helps with the DPS as well, even though the DPS got a buff, if you're interested in that. So Wood Elf is a good class for both Paragons. 5% critical chance is good for the healer. Other races you can use are the Dragonborn, but it's a premium race. Gives power and critical chance. If I'm not mistaken, you can use the ASMR as well. It gives power and outgoing healing. It increases people HP, incoming healing. A lot of stuff. Is a good class to pick for healers as well. And you could also try to go with the Drow or the Renegade Drow for the debuff. However, for the Bard class specifically, I don't think it's a great idea because it's a busy class to play. You're gonna be pressing a lot of buttons, especially if you are in a console like me. You don't have the key bindings, so it doesn't really matter if you can proc the debuff but don't have time to attack the enemy enough to proc it. So I don't suggest you go to Drow, but it's a possibility as well if you use the right attack, because I think the buff procs, it has a 10 or 20% chance to proc the debuff. So you gotta be using one of those fast at wills, not the one at the AoE that it's very slow. So we're gonna be using the Wood Elf. I'm using the Wood Elf and investing everything in wisdom and charisma. You could go with dexterity, but I don't think you're gonna need it because the Bard gets 10% free. But yeah, I'll go with the wisdom for the outgoing healing and the charisma for forte and recharge speed. Forte helps with the divinity regen, although it's not written in the forte. For the gear, guys, for the helmet, I'm gonna be using the best helmet there is right now. And we get 12% critical strike from this. You get that from the advanced moon dancer. If there's apparently it's not a bug, but if you die, depending on the type of content you're playing, you don't get to stack the critical strike again. So if you die, you're not getting the 12% critical strike anymore. So if you don't want to risk it, you can go with the Abyss Conqueror Healing Guard for a 10% critical strike. Although I've always said you don't actually get 10% critical strike from that because you never proc 10 stacks for some reason. There's some limitations on how many stacks you can proc per hero or per time. I don't know what it is, but it should be easy because we're healing more than at least 10 people all the time, right? If you consider the companions. But we don't get it. We stay with like 5 or 6% all the time. The other option is to use this one that I get from the Demon Epics hunts. It's the upgrade version of the Raincatcher. It gives outgoing healing. You have that here. If you have other helmets from the Sharandar as well, that gives power if you need it. It's a little bit lower 9 level, but yeah, if you need it, outgoing healing especially, it's a good pick. This is hard to get, guys. It's the only one I didn't even equip because I don't want to lose it just in case I need it someplace else, some other class. So I'm saving it. For the chest piece, I'm using the debuff one. I've told you many times if you watch the other videos of the healer classes, I do play with my debuffs on, and the warlock and the bard have access to this chest piece, and this is a huge debuff. This is stronger than the grace. This is stronger than the debuff set. So this is the first piece you should get. However, you gotta be close to the enemy to proc this. It doesn't. If you're not staying close to the enemy, do not use it because there's no point. You see, if I'm gonna get close to the enemy there, you're gonna get the shield icon there is the debuff. So if you don't get that close, I'm gonna put it again just to see how close it is. So you have to be right next to the guy, basically. You see? I don't know. Okay. I don't know if what's happening here. It's because I'm getting in and out of content. I don't know. But you see, you have to be very close to the card, to the target to proc this. If you don't want to use this, you can use the one that you get from the Demon Web Hits, the master version, of course. That gives outgoing healing. It's an option. I think there's a variant of this chess piece for in the Dragon Hunts as well. You have the critical strike one, which is a variant from the helmet. It's another version from the helmet. If you don't have the helmet, you have the rib cage that comes from the Dragon Hunt as well. You get 15% stats. It's an option as well. I don't think you're gonna need those stats, but I suggest that as well, there before the others, because that gives 2% critical strike for the DPS as well. So you're helping the team. It's all about helping the team. You're gonna cap your stats fairly easy when you get to the end game. You get the gear, so you gotta put stuff to help you speed things up. That's why the debuffs are so important. And the bard is so looked after, because the bard is all about the buffs. So the arms, I'm gonna get the ones that increase my performance. You get it from the Master Defensive Moon Dancer, the new trial. If you don't have that, you can use the ones from the hunts. You can use the one from the Master Demon Web Pits, the one that gives power from the hunts, and there's a couple other options as well that gives power and everything. For the weapons, right now I'm using the ones from the Demon Web Pits, but if you're readying yourself for the next module, you wanna have the ones from the Defensive Moon Dancer. I can buy those, but since I'm playing a lot of characters, I'm saving up because we're gonna have some big changes next module with the regards with the enchantments. So I don't know how much I'm gonna spend. So I'm trying to drop those. But yeah, if I get the money in the end, I'm probably gonna buy it because I'm not getting lucky with the drops. So the build that I'm using right now, I'm counting as if I had those weapons, the Master Defensive Moon Dancer. You can change for those ones here. The only thing that will happen is that you're gonna save some resources because those give 5% critical chance and 5% critical severity. So you don't have to run, for example, the Devilprecision that I put in my build. And for the boots, I'm wearing those that give regen. For the trousers, I'm using the ones that give power and defense. The shirt, I'm getting the ones that give outgoing healing from the Defensive Moon Dancer as well. You can get it from the advanced. You can actually buy those if you've done it enough just by doing the advanced. The artifact, I'm using the elixir. The healer typically gotta have this because it's the highest debuff artifact we have, one of the highest, and it's really low item level. The DPS don't want to use that, because less item levels, less damage, and we want to get that damage to get things done quickly. So we gotta use that. We gotta take the L for the team. It's gonna be fine. Next module, we're gonna get a new version of this. Hopefully, we can move on to that one. But yeah, for now, we're using that. You can use whatever else here you got here. You just gotta make sure to use whatever you need to complete the set of the artifact set that you're using. I'm using the Apocalypse set here for the debuff, 5% damage increase to the target whenever I crit with my attacks on the enemy. You definitely can use the melee set. It's a better option here. Again, I just don't have it because I don't want to farm for the melee mask which is the resources there. But just even if you don't want to farm for the mask to upgrade the mask, you can just change the artifacts to get an iron level, which is going to be way higher than what I have here. But it's good to have those in case you doing the trial. I don't know if you guys saw the Gizemla reliquary there. If another person is using the Merlin set, you gotta use another debuff set. So I have the Apocalypse set on here. You could use the Vistani as well, but Vistani is typically something that the Paladin uses because it's very hard for the Paladin to use anything else. Other things you can use here, you can use the new set. Just remember to use that from the Wisdom. If you're starting the game, you don't want to use the debuffs. You're gonna focus on your healing. You can use the Tiamat set. It gives 5% ongoing healing, which is great. I know some people use the set from the Dragon Hunts. Let me see if I can find it here. That gives 7.5 critical strike. They give 7.5 critical strike. I think it's this one. I know people use that. I don't like it because the uptime is not that great, but I know why people use it. People use it because you can actually get the debuff without using the encounters, just by pressing the baseline. Every time I press my attack, that counts as a one encounter. You have to, if you press three times, you get the buff from the artifact set from the Dragon Hunt. That's why people use that. It's easy to proc, but the uptime is not that great, so I don't like it. And again, you're gonna have a bunch of things to do. You're not gonna remember what to do, and you have to play your songs and everything. It's just another thing in your mind to get you busy. So I don't like the idea, and I don't need the stats. It's not even the best one for pure healer, to be honest. So for the rings, we have the Dominus ring that we get from the new trial, the Moon Dancer, gives outgoing healing. It would be the open ring, but it doesn't seem to be working. So yeah, we have that one instead. The other one is the Grace, is another debuff. If another person is using in the trial, you don't actually need to have two. And yeah, you can use anything else you want if you're not using that one, because the Grace ring doesn't actually help you with anything other than the debuff. We don't get ratings, we don't get anything from the stats. It's a free slot if you don't need to use the debuff here. So for the enchantment, guys, we have two garnets, one Jade, one Cabal. Utility, you use the Jade for outgoing healing. Defense, you can use whatever you like. I typically suggest you have duplicates from the offense ones, just in case you need to switch things around to balance the stats. Overload, we need the Devil's Precision. If you use the perfect weapons, you get 5% critical severity and strike, so you don't actually need the Devil's Precision. But if you need using the new Moon Dancer weapons, you're gonna need it. The other one is free for you to use whatever. You can use here a ward depending on the content, like a demon ward, a dragon ward, and dead ward to reduce the damage people take. You can use action points. I don't think action points are great because the dailies on the board are not that great, to be fair. You can use damage reduction, you can use maximum HP, whatever you think you need, it's fine. I'm using here movement speed just because ease of use, it's great to have the mobility for everything to do in mechanics and everything. And the combat enchantment, I do suggest you grab the Lightning Flash because it gives 7.5 critical strike. No other combat enchantment actually helps us here, and this gives us stats, so I think it's a must-have, to be fair. And it helps with the DPS Paragon as well, so it's a good investment, to be fair. I know people do. I see some people saying that because I can get critical strike easily. Yeah, you can get critical strike easily if you drop my debuff, all the debuffs that I have here. You could certainly get critical strike and use that one, but I mean, I can put this here and use the debuff there, and it's best for the team. I'm gonna get the run done faster, so it's the best investment you can have. is the best investment for sure, guys. Use that one. So I do have critical strike, defense, and revive sickness. And the campaign bonus, we do grab power, critical strike, power, critical severity, movement speed, and potions. Power, the potions there, power, the potions, and we'll grab forte, outgoing healing, action point, and recharge speed. And for the master boons, the most important ones, blast advantage and blast resilience. And that gives a little power for us. I keep on telling you guys, this procs fairly often, so if you missing some power, this is very helpful. Don't get crazy about it. So for the companions, I use Portobello. I like it because it gives me power, it gives DPS combat advantage, so it helps them, it helps me. You can use Tutor, use Dritz, Spine Devil, Lion, any other companion that actually do provide a buff or the debuff. It helps. I know some people like to use augments, recommend augments, but if you are in the end game, you probably don't really need it. I would only recommend for newer players, because you don't really need the ratings. I don't think if I have the golden bullet, it's not really good, to be fair. For the equipment, I do use the ones that give critical strike and outgoing healing, and one single stat of outgoing healing. For the enhancement, you can use the debuff ones. Advanced Unification reduces the enemy's combat advantage. Use armor break. Armor break is typically the tank runs with it. Dual senses reduces the awareness. We do have the slowed reactions to reduce deflection, and we do have vulnerability that reduces critical avoidance. For the companion bonuses, I do have the one from the Black Dragon ISI, gives critical chance, Golden Bullet, outgoing healing, Fawns, the critical strike and power, Raptor for the huge amount of power, and the new companion Yeti that gives outgoing healing. I know this is very expensive, Golden Black is very expensive. As a bar, guys, really, if you don't want to run so many debuffs, you can drop some of the debuffs and try to get some outgoing healing. It's going to be fine, nobody's going to complain. You can even replace this, for example, for Reinvigorate. It gives 7.5 outgoing healing, which already replaces one of the companions right here, so going to be fine. So for the mounts, let's see the colors first. The encounter powers doesn't really benefit us. Critical severity, we get 5%. Outgoing healing, movement speed, and we do have Austral Diamonds. So only outgoing healing, critical severity actually is helpful for us. Movement speed is great as well. And for the bonus, I do have the same bonus across all the healers because I do share the insignias. Gladiator's Goal is a good bonus because it gives us movement speed, so we can avoid do mechanics and avoid red areas and everything. Lionheart's Perseverance is a good bonus because it helps out, heal us when we get low. Shepherd's Devotion is helpful because it gives a bonus whenever you use daily. Not that helpful in the bard because the bard doesn't have good dailies, but we might as well. Magistrate's Patience is the best one for the healer. That's why I keep the 3 insignias here. That's my opinion. It's the only good one here, and it gives a buff for everyone. Every time I critically heal them, it's a defense buff, so very helpful to the DPS. And Mentor's Covenant is actually helpful as well. It gives a little bit of a healing stats for us, which is great. So other options that you can use, it's gonna be, we can use more Mentor's Covenant. You can use one more. You're gonna have half the bonus, of course. You can use Assassin's Covenant to get more stats as well. Not gonna get outgoing healing, but you're gonna get critical severity, critical strike. Not the ideal, but you can if you're desperate. You can use more Gladiator's Wool as well. Movement speed is always great. nice. And that's the other options I would use. Maybe you can use, I think there's one that you gives outgoing healing. Whenever your action points are full, this one, train as restoration, incoming healing, outgoing healing. When your action points are full, depending on the class, if you're not using your action points, this can be good. So yeah, that could be great. So for the mount power, we do gotta have at least 4. I will recommend to you guys. If you're starting, 2 of these will suffice, but you gotta have the Eclipse, Swarm, Pegasus, and the T-Rex. And if you're more to any game, we've gotta have the Balloon as well, in case we have more supports in the party. So we have different kind of debuffs. For the equip powers, you do gotta help out the DPS. So we do have the Runic Aura, we do have the Mystic Aura, and the Pack Tactics. I usually stick with the Mystic Aura and the Runic Aura because it does gives me a little bit of power as well, so it help me. Also, we can vary other auras here, but it don't actually help DPS or stat wise, but it could be great as well. I think there's an aura for the Lion. I don't really have that here. It's a great option as well. Well, for the power, guys, we're gonna be using Arpeggio as a healing at will. It's the only one we have, sorry. But we're gonna be using that in conjunction with Devilprecision to increase the magnitude. You could just use that for a quick heal in case we need, because we cannot hold it down because it will decrease the magnitude because of the feat. So we use that for a quick heal. And the other at will is up to you. I use Reprise to proc all my debuffs. It procs the Vistani, it procs the Grace, it procs the Apocalypse and Merilith. This does not proc the Grace, this does not proc the Vistani, and the Phantasmal Concerto does not proc, it procs everything, sorry. But it has a really long cast time, it's really slow. I know people like to use this because you get a lot of action points if you're facing a bunch of enemies. But I do use Reprise because I also get to be close up to the enemy, being sure that I proc the chest debuff as well. So there's that. For the encounters, we do have a couple mandatory ones, which is Flourish, which increases our heals by 50%. It is an additional buff. It goes above the healing cap. So it's a must. Basically use that to increase the intensity of the Rejuvenated Carol and sometimes the Sheltering Etude. And for the other one, we use Delayed Play, which is in conjunction with the Feat Vamp, allows us for sometimes to get songs for free. We put a song in the delay slot there, and every time we play a song, we have a chance to activate Vamp as I did at there. You're gonna shine, and we're gonna press the song and cast it for free. So we do get some heals for free because of the delayed play in conjunction with the Vamp. I only cast the song in delayed play whenever I proc the Vamp, because if I don't, I'm gonna lose the song in the delayed play and I'm gonna have to put it again, and this costs performance. And the third one is up to you. You can use baseline in case you need some performance. If you think you have performance issues, it just regains the performance. It has a really long ass casting, so it's kind of annoying. You'll have to stand still and do that. But yeah, if you need it, it's the only thing that we get for regaining the performance. The other option is Serenade if you maybe want to increase the heals that you putting on someone, maybe the tank. I don't see the point of using this, but it is an option if you need it to increase the effectiveness of your heals in a single target. It's kind of a mark. It's like a mark on a target like we have on the other healers. We could use Duet for some kind of a crowd control, and we could use Dancing Lights for decreasing the target's damage. Very helpful to you know, help out the tank or the group, or mitigation scenarios, and tank buster and everything else. For the daily, we're going to be using Inspiration and Curtain Call. Inspiration only would be better if it would work with all the group, but it only works with one group member, the closest one, so it's not very helpful. Most of the time I use Curtain Call, but it's quite annoying, to be fair, because it turns off all the songs to get the buffs that you see there. I only try to, if I were to pick the buffs that I want to prove, that I try to put, I prioritize the Warning Carol for the reducing damage taken, and the Shell 22, it's the big shield. Let's see if I can show you here. I'm gonna put the Shell 22, and I put the Warning Carol as well. And I get the shield and the damage debuff, damage mitigation. That's the two most important ones in my opinion. But yeah, if you can play all the songs and get all the buffs for the Curtain Call. There's no limit. For the songs, we can use all the songs, of course. You just have to play on the console. We don't have a keybind. You have to press the buttons, unfortunately. So we have Blaze Flamenco for buffing the DPS. We have the Rejuvenated Carol, which is the healing word. It's a heal over time. And we have Defender's Middleweight, which is an emergency heal. It heals the target with lowest hit points, with the lower hit point. So it's a panic heal in case we need to do it quickly in a tank that just got hit by the tank buster or everything. So I put it in a quick play slot to do it quickly. And we have the water carry on the quick play as well. It's a cleanse, basically. It does a cleanse when at the beginning of the song. It does a cleanse every few seconds. So it's a good way. Depending on the dungeon, it's quite useful. Aurora Fantasia, it's a very complicated song that I don't use that much, but basically you get a buff, and every time you hit a target, you hit people near you. Very, very poor heals, but it's great because you're attacking a lot. And when you go out of the song, you try to play another song, you do this burst that gives more heals, 400 magnitude heals. It's quite annoying. The animation is quite painful. And I just don't see the point of using this, guys. I know some people use it and like it, but I don't like it at all. Yeah, it's funny to use, but if you try to maintain the buff of the storyteller, it's gonna be hard if you try to put this song into the mix. But look, it's there if you want to use. And Shelter Etude, it's another form of emergency heal. You use this, and the group has a heal saved up, and whenever the person drops below 50 or the duration expires there, you get a magnitude heal of 600, so it's really good. And that's what we use in the delay plate as well. For the features, we do have this for Zando for the 5% outgoing healing, and we do have Vamos Lá for the increased movement speed. I would love to use Starstruck, but unfortunately it seems that it only procs this whenever you cast the song, not whenever you get the heal over time, unfortunately. So it's not, the uptime is not going to be that great. You could play it back if you like Aurora Fantasia, and I don't really like it. If you're trying to heal with Arpeggio, maybe this is a good option as well, because we'll make the Arpeggio AoE heal, but it will decrease the magnitude of the heals as well, and it will cost you a lot to heal, so not very helpful, but it can be in certain situations. If you can be faster using that than trying to play a song. If you are on console, you have to play all the buttons and everything. And the rest is just not useful for healers. Feats, we use the Minuendo, Rhapsodic Arms to get some mitigation of the songs. We got Vamp, as I explained, to get some songs for free. I don't use Southern Muse. It's very random, and the best buff we could get for there is would be the Fighter's Muse. There's not much going on there, to be fair. Oh no, the first muse, the first buff, Healer's Muse, increases the magnitude of the sheltering tude by 25%, which is great. But again, it's random between the three, so not great. The other one is increase the duration of the rejuvenated carol or the warden carol, which is not great either, because we do have to play songs all the time in a way to keep the storyteller buff, which is the last feat we're going to be using. It's a must. We get the DPS get 15% damage bonus, the tank get 15% damage decrease, and the healers get 15% outgoing healing. It's probably additional outgoing healing. We don't get the bonus ourselves. Neither does other bards if they are in the group. So I can test that, but it's probably additional as well. And the other feat that we have here, the fourth feat, is Desperate Finale, in case we need the performance. I don't recommend you using Pianissimo because it reduces, although it reduces the cost of the song, it does also reduce the magnitude. And the magnitude of the heals of the bard are not that great to begin with. The heals of the bard are not as strong as the other healers. So, and we have to play the songs, and it has all the animation behind it, and you know, slowing you down. So I don't recommend you put this. But I know some people that use that, and yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why, to be fair. This is much better, especially because unlike the other classes, they don't have much to regen our performance. I do want to point out that we have some 10% critical severity for free here whenever we play a song. We also get some 10% bonus healing whenever we play a song. You don't actually have to play 2 songs to get the buff. When we play, for example, the carol here, you already get the buff on the same carol for some reason. I think it's because of the delay to restart the song. Maybe that's why, but it's strange, because if you have a Sforzando, for example, you do have to play the song again to get the 5% outgoing healing bonus. So we do have some kind of rotation here because of that. We do have to play, if you start in combat right now, I usually play Blaze from Menko, I play Flourish, and Rejuvenated Carol, and I play the Sheltering Tude as well. You can start with the other songs as well, but I like to do it that way. And the rest of the combat is up to you. It's going to be fine because they actually increase the duration of the buffs that we get. The critical tuning and the Minstrel respiration there for 20 seconds. So it's pretty long. Can have that. You can also try to, I'm not sure if this buff ups the Blaze from Menko damage, but you can use that because we're going to be able to cast twice the Flourish. So we can start with Flourish, Blaze Flamenco, Flourish, Rejuvenated Carol, and again the Sheltering Tude. Hopefully we get the Vamp to proc and get the Sheltering Tude. Another thing you can use is try to use Flourish, Sheltering Tude, Flourish, Rejuvenated Carol, and play the Blaze Flamenco after. That's another thing you can use. Remember that you have to play a song every 15 seconds to keep the buff up. The stacks, you get 3 stacks, and they all have the same timer. They will expire at the same time. So we gotta have to play a song every 15 seconds, and we have to keep the songs up as well. So you start with those songs. Play, hopefully you get the vamp. They have 3 stacks of the storyteller, and before the 15-second mark, you play another Sheltering Tude, and you're good to go. Just wait till the songs expire. So you start and play all the songs again, and get the 3 stacks up again. And that's how the rotation goes. Just try to keep the stacks up. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful, and if you watching this, getting ready for the next module, just try to get the weapons. They're probably gonna be the best in slot for the new dungeon. And yeah, you're good to go. The build, it's around 90k right now. You need to be 90k to get to the new dungeon. So with the weapons, you're gonna be way above that. You're gonna be fine. If you don't have the weapons, if you want to try to use basically the same thing that I'm using right now, you're gonna have to change some things. You're probably gonna have to change the artifact set here. You can put metal set. You're gonna go above the 90k easily. You can change some artifacts as well here to get a little bit more item level to get to the cap that you need. But just have that in mind. The new dungeon is gonna be 90k, and the build is ready. And yeah, and that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, man. See you around.